All set? All right, I will call this meeting of the Durham Board of Selectmen to order as Tuesday, May 11th. We are still in the Zoom format, so I will call each board member by name, and when I do so, please say something out loud to confirm that anybody watching or listening to the meeting can hear you. Rich George.
Here.
Rob Ponto.
Here.
Todd Bollier.
Yep.
And Mark Farren.
Here.
All right, so all board members are present. Just let everybody know, Selectman Farren is multitasking right now. He's actually attending 2 meetings at once, so he might be in and out of the meeting, but we'll be sure. I think Mark's just, if there's anything we vote on tonight, you probably want to just have been present for the entire discussion or just not vote on that.
Yeah,
particular-
absolutely.
So,
Yeah, don't wait on me.
yeah, okay, great. All right, amendments to the agenda. I do have a couple under action and discussion items. 4D, we need to approve the warrant so that it can be posted for the special town meeting on May 22nd. And for E, we need to approve an oath for Ruth Glazier as deputy treasurer so that she can continue to work the counter during this 2-week transition period and handle money. So we need to authorize that. So that'll be 4E. Any other amendments to the agenda? Okay, then I will open public comment. Just use the raise your hand feature if you can on Zoom. Okay, Heather Roy.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. I had a couple of questions and then I had a couple of things that I wanted to say. So last meeting, you guys approved a list of all kinds of people for committees. And I wasn't on that list. I didn't know if I needed to be for the budget committee.
Is Becky on the line? I think because you just took your oath, I'm not sure you needed to be, but Becky can answer that question.
No,
Okay.
she didn't need to be on that because you came in and took your oath right after the election.
Okay.
So that was for oaths that had expired or the yearly oaths on the other committees that are yearly. So you're all set.
Okay, thank you.
You'll be on the list next year.
Okay.
Actually, no, her oath is a little bit longer. It's
Oh, okay. All
3
right.
years.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
3 years, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. And then I was looking for the agenda for today. And when I went back and I looked at the meeting minutes, if the minutes are posted, does that mean that they've already been approved?
Yes, typically they don't get posted unless the board has approved them. So there's generally a, 2 to much more than 2 week lag, unfortunately, sometimes with those being posted.
Yeah, no, I understand. I think we've talked about that before, but I was curious because wasn't the public hearing on the road ordinance, the April 13th meeting?
Was it the April 13th or was it the one before? Which minutes are you questioning?
The April 13th minutes, I mean, unless I have my dates mixed up, it says public hearing, but then it says, and then public comment, and it says none, but there was extensive input from the public at that. And I just
yeah.
want to make sure that that somehow is noted.
Yep, well, the public hearing, is separate from the actual public comment section on the agenda. So the public hearing, so there was nothing during the quote unquote public comment period like we're having right now. But like, as you say, there was a lot mentioned during the actual hearing, which was a separate agenda item.
Okay, so does that get documented by the video itself? There's no like written record of that. Is that right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay, thank you. And then I just wanted to clarify something from the public hearing and then what was said in the meeting, your last meeting, the select board's last meeting. At the public hearing, it was said that the select board was gonna vote on this road ordinance that we're talking about. But then at the last select board meeting, it was said twice that the town was gonna vote, and I just wanted clarity on that.
Yeah, the road ordinance is one of the very small number of instances where that's a select board vote and not a townwide vote. So what we may have been referring to is I think it's on the agenda tonight, but tonight is a discussion because we have like another version of that ordinance, and we'll talk about whether we want to put that one out amended or not, as Calvin is presenting it to us for another public hearing on that new version. But it's still
Okay.
a select board vote ultimately.
Okay, that, I just wanted to make sure, because two
Yep.
people had asked me about that. It's the select board that's gonna vote on that, not
That's
the
right.
whole town. Okay,
Yep.
okay, thank you for clarifying. And then the comment that I wanted to make is just that I know that we had talked about if it happened that Rabbit Road had a weight limit or was closed, or however we're referring to it, that some of that traffic could get deferred to Swamp Road. And part of what the issue that I think we're having is that we don't have like a concrete number necessarily to compare to for Rabbit Road. And so I think it would be important that to have a count done now on Swamp Road, aside from whatever happens with Rabbit Road, so that if Rabbit Road something does change about Rabbit Road, we have a point of comparison for Swamp Road down the road.
So you have a
Does that make
baseline.
sense?
Yeah. Yep.
Before like anything changes, if we did something, got a count on Swamp Road now, then we would have something to be able to compare it to before any of these changes were made.
Okay.
Okay, and that's all I have. Thanks. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you. Anybody else have here for the public comment portion of the meeting? Not seeing any hands. Okay, we will close public comment and move on to our action and discussion items. 4A, tax settlement and recommitment. Ruth, can you give us a little, and I'm going to keep calling on Ruth. I want to acknowledge Kathy, our new town manager, is here with us tonight. Her first official day was yesterday. But I think in terms of, since she's only been there a day, I'm not going to ask her too many complicated tax recommitment questions. So I think between the two of you, we'll tag team it or whatever. But Ruth, can you give us a little background on what this is about and what we're being asked to do here?
So when you change tax collectors, you have to do a settlement. So basically you're absolving me of the responsibility of collecting the taxes. And then you need to recommit the taxes to Kathy, who's going to be the new town tax collector. And there's not a ton of funds involved because we just did the lien last week. And so once the property is liened, the tax collector's responsibility is over. So that's why it's only about 15,000.
Okay. Is that on the recommitment or the reconciliation?
Both. It's the same amount, both for the settlement and for the recommitment.
Okay. So what specifically do we need to vote on?
Both.
No, but I mean, I mean, like, how would the motion be worded?
That's a good question. You could vote to approve the settlement as set forth in the document for the years from, I think it's 2008 to 2020. Does that sound right? And then you would make a separate motion to commit the taxes in the amount of 15,000 and some odd dollars to Kathy.
All right, let's do one at a time here. Any board, while I'm flipping through this, any other board members have questions or comments on this? All right. What's the total on the settlement part?
It's the same as the recommitment.
Oh. Okay, well, what's that then?
All right. So in other words, you want me to bring it up? Hold on a second.
Yeah, well, I want to make sure we're making a proper motion.
No, that's okay. It's just, we're not in my office, so I'm having to kind of play this by ear, but that's okay. We got this. Settlement, recommitment. Paperwork. All right, so the total amount, okay, is $15,223.60.
And that is the total for, so
For,
you're gonna have
Do
to
you
tell
want
me
me to-
again how this motion needs to be worded to make this all legal.
yeah, hold on. So Kevin, I'm gonna share. I'm gonna share the screen with you guys. Where'd it go? Left. Yeah, thank you. Between the two of us, we'll figure it out. So this is the total amount. So it's going to be, we're going to settle the tax. We're going to settle the amounts for 2004 through 2020 as listed here.
Okay,
And relieve me of any commitment to the tax collection. And then we're going to recommit the exact same amounts to Kathy.
do I have to actually name names in the motion?
Yes. Yeah, you're going to need to use our names. I don't think you have to go through and state every year, but we will put this as a part of the minutes.
No. All right, let me take a crack at this. All right. I'm going to move that we approve the tax settlement amount of $15,223.60, relieving current town administrator Ruth Glazier and current treasurer Ruth Glazier of that responsibility, and also approve the recommitment amount of $15,223.60 to our new treasurer and town manager, Kathy Tombarelli.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on that? All right, I will call for the vote. Thank you. You can take that document down. Thank you. Take your vote when I call your name, please. Todd Bullier. Todd, you're muted.
Sorry. Yes.
Okay. Rich George,
Yes.
Rob Ponto,
Yes.
Mark Farren,
Yes.
and I am a yes as well. So, okay. I'm going to, I just realized Ruth sent me a text that I just saw that, Pete Coughlin is here from the Maine Department of Transportation, available to answer questions that the board might have in discussing the latest proposal for a road posting ordinance. So unless there's an objection, I'm going to move ahead to 4C on the action and discussion items so that we can not force Pete to sit here any longer than necessary. So, any objections to that? Hearing none, let's go to 4C, discussion of the road posting ordinance. So Calvin, you want to frame this up for us, please?
So since the last, well, I guess just before the last meeting, I sent out a version that Pete Coughlin and I worked on. We basically took what we had, we backed up to the Maine Municipal Association model, which was where our previous or our existing ordinance started, and somehow it got steered off in a direction and made some references that shouldn't have been made. So we backed up, started over with the MMA model and built it from there. Not a lot of changes, but we tried to differentiate between the permanent year-round restrictions roads versus the seasonal restrictions to protect the town's investment during spring thaw. The way it was written before was really geared toward the seasonal postings and not for year-round restrictions in roads. And Pete, added the definition of solidly frozen roads from the Maine DOT 2019 updated definition of that. So you guys have it. I sent both this and the MMA model so you could look at them side by side, and you could kind of look and see that there really isn't a lot of difference.
Any board members have questions or comments for Calvin or Mr. Coughlin? What we're deciding tonight basically is what form of this ordinance we want to then take to the next step. We'd schedule another public hearing, presumably at our next meeting towards the end of May. Similar process as last time, have the public hearing and then potentially have a board vote. So any questions or comments on this version?
I'll go.
Yeah, Rob.
I actually don't have much on the version. I want to thank Pete and Calvin, but Pete's not a Durham resident or an employee of ours, and I appreciate him putting a lot of time into this for us and trying to help us clarify some of that outdated language. So thank you.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? I just had two clarifying ones. Under section 4 and the exemptions, when it talks about specifically wondering about the need to call out well drilling equipment when an emergency drought has been called, the way that's worded in this way, it almost sounds like that's the only time you can get well drilling equipment is if there's an actual drought been determined. So I was a little bit confused on that language.
Kevin, do you want me to answer that?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, thanks first for the invite. Calvin and I worked on this after the April 13th version. Thanks, Rob, for your kind words. So that section, Kevin, is straight out of the statutes. It's word for word right out of the law. So that's what legislators decided, and it lifted, cut and pasted right out of the statute.
Well, what I'm wondering is, because it's a section lifted and cut and pasted out of a statute, is it missing surrounding context where that would make sense? And are we creating an issue with the wording? So for instance, without this, is there anything in here, Calvin or Pete, as you understand it, that would prevent a well drilling truck from going to somebody's house to drill a well at any time? Other than the seasonal road posting?
Yeah, just during the seasonal road postings, and that, in which case that this would be an exemption that they would be able to do that by statute.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they're free to go anytime. It's just, this was put it in several years ago when it was realized that we had a drought, I don't know, 10 years ago during spring thaw. And well drillers found that they were actually prohibited from driving on posted roads. So some legislator somewhere around the state for his constituents put a bill in, and here it is.
Okay. All right, my second question, it's not really a question, more of a, make sure I'm understanding this right, is I read the frozen road exemption that even on, like use Rabbit Road, because that's what we've been talking about the most, even if that were to stay on the list and be one of the roads that has the year-round restriction, if that road is frozen, that restriction does not apply. Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah, Calvin, you can comment too, but right on the front page in section 3, right underneath the list of the 6 roads, it says that Right, Calvin?
It,
The last sentence that says this exemption, notice, well, there's a typo there too. It says this exemption colon, however, shall not apply during the season of late winter when the orange signs are out.
Right, yeah.
yeah, so what that said there was that, so in other words, this exemption was taken from the existing ordinance that said that roads that are posted, if there's a business on that road or there's a service being provided at a residence, that they would still be able to do that on the year-round roads. But it would not, those exemptions would not apply during the spring posting. So in other words, if they were going to have their land logged off, without putting that in here, they would be able to do anything during their spring postings had that not been put here. I think that's a different question than what you were asking, but
Yeah, it is, but.
yes. The frozen road exemption should have been, and if you look up above, it says for seasonal restrictions. The intent was
Where does it say that?
the second, third paragraph down for seasonal
Oh,
restriction.
okay.
So the intent was, if you look on the first page, it says for permanent year-round restrictions, and they should have been bolded. And I think I asked Ruth to bold them today. I think she did, but so if these exemptions on the front page were for the year-round restrictions, and then the seasonal restrictions, and these are the exemptions for that on the next page.
Oh, I would agree with you that needs to be formatted better,
Yeah.
so that that's more clear.
Yeah.
One thing, Kevin, is that most towns use the model ordinance from MMA, which I helped put together years ago. And it's written very, very broadly to apply for any time of year that a town wants to post its roads, either seasonally or year round. And it's just, even though it said that, it's some of the language that talked about the signs, it was the language that talks about the orange signs seemed to imply that it also applied to the, like, no through truck signs that you'd see, which would be black on white. And it just, it didn't line up quite right. And I got to talk to my friends over at MMA about that. So that's why we took the liberty here to define specifically, here's the permanent stuff. And then after that, here's the seasonal stuff. So they're both addressed separately.
Okay. And so Calvin, are we gonna label these sections like year round and seasonal?
Yeah, I'll bold those and put bullets in those two sections, yeah.
Okay.
Or create its own section, yeah.
So I just want to go back to my original question. If a truck over, what is it, 23,000 pounds, if a truck is registered with a gross weight over 23,000 pounds on one of these year-round roads on the list, but that road is frozen solid at the end of January, they can drive on that road loaded.
That is what it says here, yeah.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure I'm understanding that correctly.
Yep.
So really the compromise when we get to the public hearing is this ordinance is essentially saying, going back to the public hearing, that we're okay with the local businesses with the trucks driving on those roads empty. But if it's loaded, it's during seasonal restrictions or full-time restrictions, except for these exemptions. And the compromise is they might have to go down, Route 9 and around Eureka Center and back up 136 and then continue on Quaker. That's the compromise we're asking based on the public hearing comment.
Yep.
Okay. Any other board comments? Then I would move that we post this proposed ordinance on the town website and other, legally required matters as soon as possible, and schedule public hearing for our next regularly scheduled board meeting 2 weeks from tonight.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on that? Now Rich, I just want to clear, I'll call you Rich. The board could vote, you know what, we don't want to change anything. We don't even want to put this out there. We're just going to live with what we have now. So that could be the vote tonight. to not even go forward with the proposed ordinance thing, but, or somebody could offer an amendment. So, okay, Rich, go ahead.
No, I was just curious if there was going to be discussion as exactly what you just said, whether or not we're going through with this as a board. And as far as the roads selected, if there was going to be discussion regarding those roads. I know
that's
we've
what
had discussion.
Now would be the
Right.
time to do that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a motion on the floor and we can discuss and amend and go from there.
Yeah, I think if we're going to post roads, so be it. But, why not? If it's a town road, why not post all of them? Why are we just specific to most in particular Rabbit Road? Because it's a main thoroughfare through town. It always has been. And there's just, someone needs to answer that, because there's other roads that are just as busy as that we're not posting.
So if I could answer that, Kevin,
Yeah, please.
when you leave the gravel pit there and run around Pond Road, they're all going to Brunswick and Harpswell, and I mean it's just steady. It's a steady stream of trucks. It's basically a truck route, and that's just the way they're going. I would rather keep them on the state DOT roads and let the DOT pay for the road repairs. And their roads are obviously, built to a better standard than what we can afford.
But we're not really doing that, Calvin, if we're not trying to restrict them from Run Around Pond Road or Quaker Meeting House Road.
Well, if they're not running Rabbit Road specifically, they have a lot of other options. But when they leave the pit, they're funneled right into Rabbit Road. Whereas if they took Route 9, then they have other options. Not all the trucks are going to use the same pattern. Some will turn right and go down to Run Around Pond. Some will go Swamp. Some will stay right on 125 and go up 125 and left onto Soper. I mean, it won't all be put into one road.
So would you consider posting Run Around Pond Road and Quaker Meeting Road?
I'm not seeing that the trucks are going that way. They're headed to Brunswick and Harpswell.
Okay.
As someone who lives on Quaker Meeting House Road, I can
I think
tell
you're crazy on that.
right off Rabbit.
I don't want to be, that's just, I drive that road a lot. I mean, I'm over there more now than I've ever been, between school and my mother's house and so forth. That's just not, I don't think that's very accurate, Calvin. I think maybe we should do a little more research on that.
Are you done, Rich, for now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Rob?
I agree. Honestly, I feel like we should post all the town-owned roads to some extent. I mean, the town is used as a cut through for other towns, basically, and and we're the ones that pay for it. So, to Rich's point, I think if we're not going to do Rabbit Road, I'd recommend we don't do any of them and let them disperse as much as possible. Why keep Old Brunswick Road posted and not Quaker Meeting House, and then let the traffic split it as much as possible. But, we kind of came up with a list and it was based on that. And, it's not hard science, but we looked at the maps and figured here's some routes and like Calvin said, it's a way to disperse them. But I'd have no problem with putting them all on there if you want.
I have no problem with that. I just think, there's people's businesses and livelihoods we're talking about here. And it just seems to be very, nonchalant of, we'll just shut this one particular road down that's in a major thoroughfare. And where a business exists basically on that road or off of that road. And I just don't know how you do that in good conscience.
Well, with regards to the business, they're all going to be playing on the same level field, right? So if the road's posted to one company, it's posted to all companies. So when it comes time.
So Rob, not to interrupt you. So if I have my pit on 125,
like,
a very good friend of mine, Mike Kopp does, you're telling me he's not at an advantage and it'd be more beneficial for somebody to go over to Mike Kopp's pick versus Dugas's pick? Because I would go to Mike Kopp's pick if I got to go all the way around town, and
I mean, there's a lot that goes into pricing. Right. I mean, every project's different. What Kopp's price versus Dugas's price is different. I mean, they all adjust that. But my point is
talking about from a convenience standpoint. Why would I go to Dugas's if I got to go around the mulberry bush to get to it because the town blocked his business off?
maybe you wouldn't. You're absolutely.
I know a lot of people
Yeah,
wouldn't. That's what I'm
guys,
saying.
let's keep it one at a time, okay?
But every truck that's going from Dugas's, they're all going to have to go around and they're all going to do that. And maybe it does put them at a disadvantage, but it also, you know, it may direct traffic to Mike and good for him. And, you know, other trucks that would normally cut across, I don't know, coming, you know, they come down Davis Road to get to Dugas's pit too. So that's another one that's going to be crumbling pretty soon. So, but you know, you're right. They're the ones that we're talking about going around Rabbit Road. It's, you know, it's 4.2 mile loop, Rabbit Road, Route 9, Eureka Center, and Rabbit Road's 1 mile. So the rest of it's 3.2. So you're adding 2.2 to the trip. But everyone's going to pay it, and they're going to pass it on to the people that are building houses, building roads, buying that gravel. So other towns, you know, the people that are causing these trucks to travel the roads are going to end up footing that bill. So in from a convenience standpoint, I mean, you're right. There may be some instances, but there may be other instances that put other pits at an advantage everywhere. You know, I mean, that being on a road, great for Mike, good for him. You know, he chose
No, and
wise.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that, Rob. It's just there's roads out there that are town roads that are off, you know, gravel pits. Take Bowie Hill Road, for example.
Yeah,
That road, you take a right out of Mike's pit, that road's, you know, it's obviously sees a lot of wear and tear from trucks.
and
They're
then
not
they
letting
hit
it just-
Davis.
And then you go down Davis and they hit Davis, but we're not shutting down Davis. We're just shutting down this one road that's that majorly impacts somebody's business and an actual town. We're just dispersing trucks all over town now rather than just one road.
Yeah, so you would add Davis Road and run around Pond Road to the list?
No, I would do that. I would do that before I just signal out Rabbit Road, because there's really, what's the cause? Like, why are we just picking on the Rabbit Road? Why are they special versus any other road in the town?
Well, right now, because that's the one that I can see falling apart. I mean,
Oh, a
it's
lot of
looking
them.
great
Like I
now,
said,
but it's got the micro fractures and, you know.
But Mike, if you drive up to the stop sign on Quaker Meeting, or excuse me, Rabbit, and then cross over to Quaker Meeting, which is
It's
a town
terrible.
road, that road's completely annihilated compared to Rabbit Road. We're not even entertaining shutting that road down.
Yeah,
And to say that the
got no
traffic
problem with
doesn't go up
putting that
that
one on
road
the list,
is
too.
ludicrous.
yeah. There's no reason we couldn't shut it down from 136 to the intersection with Old Brunswick Road.
I have no problem shutting down side roads like Meadow Road, things like that people aren't highly traveling on. But shutting down major roads is just nothing I'll be signing up for. I can tell you that.
So Mark, I want to give Todd or Mark a chance to jump in if they have anything to say on this one. No?
Yeah, I was kind of,
Go
sorry,
ahead, Todd.
I'm kind of thinking the same thing that Rich was, you know, I mean, it is a pretty major thoroughfare we're talking about. Businesses around town, I mean, they pay taxes too, and I think that, it makes sense to probably not, if we're gonna post everything or not make any changes, I guess, is the way I would look at it.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I've been too. So I do like the language and the improved language in the ordinance. So I'm actually going to amend my motion that we put this ordinance out to public hearing and then eventually a board vote, but I'm amending my motion to remove Rabbit Road from the list. Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Rich second, okay. So now the discussion is to send the ordinance out to public hearing with Rabbit Road not on it. We have to vote on the amendment first, and then we'll vote on the motion. So the amendment is to remove Rabbit Road from the list of roads in the ordinance. So any further discussion on that? Mark?
Yeah, just real quick, I mean, we're just voting to put this to a town like just an information session, and we're gonna vote on actually proving it after the meeting.
Well, it's an actual public hearing. It's because it's an ordinance. It's more than just an informational session. It's a public hearing where we put out there what we're proposing to adopt as an ordinance. The public will have their piece, and then we vote. We can't amend an ordinance during the meeting after the public hearing. So what we would have to do is kind of like we did this time. We didn't vote on the ordinance as presented when we had the public hearing. We had no vote. But whatever we put in front of the public hearing, the board has to have a straight up or down vote. We can't amend at that time. So any changes we want to make have to be made before we put it out, publish it for a public hearing.
Okay.
Rob?
Yeah, I mean, if we're not gonna have Rabbit Road on the list and there's no meaningful legislation or reason, I guess, to post the other roads, because like, you know, they're not cut throughs, they're not used by trucks. So I would recommend that we just put this through as just the winter roads or the frozen roads ordinance section and take all the others off the list and at least disperse the trucks as much as possible. And let them use whatever routes. Because that's why, you know, you talk about Quaker Meeting House is destroyed because they don't use Old Brunswick. All the trucks go down Quaker Meeting House. So to me, it's like, if we're not going to take, you know, and I get it, it's a political decision as much as a road preservation decision. So let's just take them all off the list.
You mean even the ones that are currently posted? That's what you're saying?
Yeah. I think we just take them off and just do just a winter road ordinance posting.
Yeah, but I think there's other reasons other than just traffic why some of those roads are posted. You know, like Old Brunswick's a pretty tight, turny road. Shiloh is the same way. You know, I mean, even though I live on Quaker Meeting House Road, those trucks should be going down Quaker Meeting House Road and not Old Brunswick Road. That's where they should be going. It's a much wider, better road with better sight lines and whatever. So. Well,
Yeah, I would agree with that.
What's that, Rich?
I would strongly agree with that. What you just said, Kevin.
All right. Any further discussion on the motion to remove Rabbit Road from the list? All right, I'll call for the vote. Rich George,
Yes.
Mark Farren,
Yes.
Todd Bollier,
Yes.
Rob Ponto,
No.
and I am a yes. Okay, so the motion as amended is to put the ordinance out to public hearing and then a board vote as Calvin has presented it to us without Rabbit Road and with the formatting of the headings and the sections to clarify the meaning. So that's the motion on the floor right now. Any further discussion on that? All right, I will call for the vote. Rich George,
Yes.
Todd Bollier,
Yes. I thought
Mark
we just
Farren.
voted.
I'm sorry, Todd, did you say something else?
Thought we just voted.
We voted on the amendment. Now we're voting on the entire ordinance to put out to public hearing. So,
Oh, I see. Yes.
okay, Mark Farren,
Yes.
Rob Ponto,
No.
and I'm a yes. All right. So 4-1, that motion passes. That's the ordinance that will go for a public hearing at our meeting 2 weeks from tonight. All right, next. Thank you, Pete, very much for joining us and answering our questions. Unless you want to stay for some captivating further town discussions, you can enjoy the rest of your night.
Okay, thanks much. Glad to help.
Thanks, Pete.
Sure. See ya.
Take care.
Okay, now we're going to go back to 4B, the special town meeting mailer. So Ruth or Kathy, or someone, do you want to put it up on the screen? If you have it handy.
Yes, I'm doing it right now.
Great, thanks.
We're looking for it.
So it's been board unofficial. We've never, it's not written down anywhere, but it's been our our policy and our best practice over the last couple of years. Whenever we have a town meeting or a special town meeting or a big public hearing, you know, maybe about a major ordinance change or whatever, that we mail notices to all households in town. And so this is a draft of what that mailer would be. So it looks like, what is this, a 2-sided 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper?
That was what I understood you wanted.
No, whatever format worked. I just didn't think it was going to fit on a postcard.
Yeah, not with all of the words.
Right. So how will this, what's the format of mailing? Is it going to be like tri-folded and taped, or what is it going to look like?
It would just be bifolded, folded in half and tabbed.
And then it's what, sealed along the bottom edge somehow, or how does it?
Yeah, so go to the second page. Kathy. So you would fold that in half, you would seal it, and then at the top of that, there's a place where you would put the address. We would do the multiple mailer where they just put Durham resident, and they just put one in each post box in town.
All right, we're not hearing you very well. I'm presuming it would go in the kind of the top portion of this page here on top of the seal.
Yeah, so
Oh,
so the
yeah.
address would go right here.
Okay. All right. Should the layout be so that the headline is visible when you yeah, like, so should the Town of Durham special town meeting informational sheet, should that be where it starts underneath the seal there where the address is, so that it calls attention to what it actually is?
We can.
Yeah, because I don't want stuff like this. It's easy to get lost in the mail. The other suggestion I had was, or question was like, should we do this on like screaming neon yellow paper or hot pink paper or something like that?
We can do both of those things if you guys want. I mean, I can rearrange it so that the first thing you see is the Town of Durham special town meeting informational sheet. And we can put it on bright color paper. I'm not really sure. It'd probably be a little more expensive, but probably not a ton.
Okay. Anybody else have questions or comments? Or, I mean, we have to vote whether to send a mailer at all, because we're gonna need to spend some money to do that, make sure everybody's on the same page. Anybody else have questions or comments on this?
Yeah,
Rich?
well, just real quick. Ruth, exactly in the town, and maybe you don't know the answer to this, but how many direct emails do we have to residents? How big is our mailing list?
The email?
So that would
Yeah, the
probably be
email.
more of a Kathy question, because that would probably be something that would go out via the newsletter mailing webpage or web emails. And so I think there's about 700 or so, but Kathy may be able to tell us, Kathy D might be able to tell us more exactly.
Well, if you want to give me a few minutes, I'll see if I can find it on MailChimp. I think it's somewhere around 630, but I'll check it out and I will chime in.
I don't necessarily need an exact number. I was just curious as to what type of, how many contacts we have. Now, granted, some of those might not necessarily be town residents either. There might be some people that just want to keep up with the news. So I was just curious. I was just wondering, you know, if we did that, the mass mailer did do a mass mailer, just sent out the emails and put this on the webpage for 2 weeks. I mean, how do we have a traffic count on our webpage? How many people go to that?
I don't really know, Rich.
Are you questioning whether we need to do a mailer, Rich?
Yeah, just trying to save as much money as possible as usual. But I mean, I like the mailers, but I do think, I agree with you, Kevin, about, I'd say probably 30 to 40% of them end up in the trash or using as kindling or something for the next bonfire outside. I don't know. You know, other than certified mail, there's no guarantees of people actually seeing it or reading it.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I think we have to at least try, and
Yeah,
we've heard over the
I think
years.
the cost is reasonable. I was just curious as to the numbers. I think the cost is reasonable. It's worth a shot.
Any other comments on this one? All right, then I'm going to move that we send the presented town mailer out to all households in Durham as soon as possible. And I would add the suggestion for bright colored paper and the formatting realignment that I talked about so that the headline is visible from the outside about special town meeting. Is there a second on that?
I'll second it.
Rich, second. Any further discussion? All right, I'll call for the vote. Todd Boyer,
Yes.
Mark Farren,
I'll abstain.
Rob Ponto,
Yes.
Rich George,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. So 4-0 motion passes. All right. We are now on to 4D, approval of the town warrant for the special town meeting on the 22nd.
So Kevin,
Yeah,
on this one too, I want to add, you guys have to approve the school warrant as well.
I thought we did that last meeting.
No, you guys put it off to this meeting.
Oh, because we
put
didn't
it-
have.
Right.
Do we have it now?
You should. I think Becky sent it to you like the day after.
2 weeks ago. You expect me to keep track of stuff I got 2 weeks ago?
Yes, yes, we do.
All right.
Do you expect Ruth to keep track of stuff she got 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, that's kind of the job, isn't it?
Well, she's giving it back to you.
All right. Well, let's okay. Well, let's put the town warrant up first because I think you probably have that one more handy.
Yep, I do. Maybe. Oh, what did I do?
You and Kathy, you look like your monitor is mounted on the ceiling the way you
We're
are.
looking, sorry, look, we're kind of doing both. We're trying to, yeah, stay 6 feet apart and all that.
And it's not working.
And pretty well, yeah.
Hold on, give me a second.
I think it's down there.
It made a mess up and I had to close it and then it should be able to. There we go. And with you guys. There. Okay, can you see it?
There it is.
You see it now?
Okay, so this is a very simple two-question warrant. One, first article is to elect a moderator. The other one is the language for that specific article that we approved at our last meeting. So I'm going to move that we approve the warrant as presented for the special town meeting on 22nd.
I'll second it.
Todd seconds. Any discussion on this? Call for the vote. Todd Boyer,
Yes.
Rich George,
Yes.
Rob Ponto,
Yes.
Mark Farren,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay. So now we also need to approve the RSU warrant for that. This is for the budget referendum vote on June 8th, I believe. Is that right?
Yes.
All right.
You want to see that?
Please.
Yep. So because it's a little bit more than the budget validation referendum, this is because of the pandemic, there's no big town meeting. where a lot of these would be voted on individually. So it's a secret ballot referendum vote. And Ruth or whoever's controlling the mouse, do you want to scroll through this?
Yeah, no problem. Okay, hold on. We got this. I can-
It's gonna look up.
Yeah, I'll try not to make you guys look at my nose.
Yeah.
So there's the Article 1A, the moderator, and there's the school budget. And then I'm gonna scroll down, but if you want me to go back,
Yeah, just show what the articles are. I mean,
yeah, so that's the first.
it's pretty
monetary-
standard format. It's, I think it's the same format that they used for the school budget last year.
Yeah,
So there's the general budget article, then there's the adult ed, which is always a separate article. Then there's capital reserve articles. And I don't know what the CTE, oh, that's the Region 10
yeah,
budget. That's again, always a separate article along with adult ed, CTE, capital reserve funds. So this is, these are the questions that would go to voters on June 8th.
yeah. And then you guys vote down here.
All right, so I'm going to move that we approve the RSU 5 school budget referendum warrant as presented.
A second.
Mark seconds. Any discussion? Call for the vote. Todd Bollier.
Hey,
Oh,
Kevin?
hold on. Rich, did you have something?
Yeah, it was more of just a quick question, probably just for you or maybe somebody can answer it, but why when it's directed, like this is for the town of Durham, obviously to vote, how come we don't put our recommendation on there like we would with the town for the voters to have something to
That's
reference?
part of the state, how the RSU budgeting process is laid out in state law. That I agree with you. That's a gap. There's no budget committee equivalent in a multi-town RSU.
So we're voting on something that we don't even to put forward to the people of the town, but we don't really have any say in it whatsoever. We're just voting. It's
Well, we
already
do.
pretty
We
much
have,
done, right?
well, we have 3 people on the school board, and then
Oh, yeah, okay, that's fair.
and then our say is the vote. But I will say that I didn't attend them this year, but the RSU, they have many public, meeting, input, question opportunities. Sadly, there are people take advantage of those or say anything until it gets to the very end, and then they see a big number and they go, "Holy crap!"
Yeah.
But there is opportunity there if people choose to avail themselves of it.
No, I get the opportunity aspect. I just don't get the purpose of us putting it forward if we don't really put our stamp on it per se. If we just are just passing this just to allow it to happen in our town, that they can take a vote. I just don't get why we need to approve this.
Yeah, because our town is legally part of the school district, and it's just part of the procedure. Each town, because it goes out to vote in each town, and because we're a town meeting form of government, which means that votes to the town appear on a warrant, and the select board has to approve anything that goes out on a warrant. So it's really, as far as we're concerned, it's pretty much a procedural pass on
Okay.
to authorize the question to go on a warrant for voters.
We're just checking a box is all we're doing.
Yes.
Okay,
Definitely.
I got it.
Good question though. Todd, did you have a question?
Do we even know how many millions this is higher than last year?
I don't, I think.
Do we know what
the
last year's numbers were?
increase Ruth was around what, 2 or 3% for Durham, something like that?
Yeah, it's about I think it's about 2%. I looked at it a while back, but it's been a while.
They have, if you go to the RSU site, Todd, they have a budget header at the top, and they have pretty good documents. They have, if you want to get in the weeds, there's all kinds of detail there, but they have pretty good summary pages too that can give you a high level, this year versus last year, and what it looks like. It's not a huge increase this year, low single digit percentage.
Mhm.
Any other questions or comments? All right, we'll call for the vote. Todd Boyer,
No.
Rob Ponto,
Yes.
Mark Farren,
Yes.
Rich George,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay. All right, next. We mentioned so we in the midst of our transition to, sorry, I'm trying to get back to the right spot in my email here. In the midst of the transition from town administrator to town manager, and we have some overlap in that time. And so in order to legally enable Ruth to continue for the next period of time to do transactions at the window and handle money and things of that sort, we need to approve an oath for her as a deputy treasurer. So I'm going to move that we approve oath for Ruth Glazier as deputy treasurer for the remainder of her employment period with the town of Durham.
Second.
I heard Mark second that first. Any further discussion? Call for the vote. Rob Ponto,
Yes.
Mark Farren,
Yes.
Todd Boyer,
Yes.
Rich George,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay. All right. So I believe that completes the action and discussion items. One note for the next meeting, while I think of it, is if we could please put the discussion of bulky waste alternatives on our agenda for the next meeting. We did hear back from Casella, and they're willing to have us have access to their transfer station on 2 consecutive Saturdays rather than just one, as the, kind of make good on our bulky waste day. So the discussion and decision for the board will be whether we want to do that option or hold, something closer to our traditional bulky waste day, but later in September. So that'll be on the agenda for discussion at our next meeting. All right, department and committee reports. Calvin, you are first tonight. Road commissioner report.
I forwarded the bid tab documents from the Crooker Construction for the contract of the bid documents that reflects Crooker signed the bid tab, and I sent those 2 pages to you. So I'd like to have authorization to sign for that on the 18th. We rescheduled it till the 18th.
Okay, just as a note going forward though, Calvin, if there's something you actually want the board to vote on, that should be an agenda item under action and discussion items, okay?
Okay. All right.
All right. Any comments or questions about Calvin's request? Rob, you want to make the motion on this one? You know how to word the public works ones.
Let me think. Calvin, do you have the exact figure right in front of you? Because I want to quote that in the motion.
It's $282,000, $282,900.
That's for 1 year.
Yes. Oh, you want the whole 3
I
years?
want the full 3 years because we're going to authorize the 3-year contract.
Total is $917,025.
I move that we authorize Calvin to sign the contract with Crooker Construction for 3 years, and it was $917,025.
Second.
Todd seconds. Any discussion on the motion? Call for the vote. Mark Farren,
Yes.
Todd Bollier,
Yes.
Rich George,
Yes.
Rob Ponto,
Yes.
and I am a yes as well. Okay, you want to go ahead, Calvin? You can continue.
So the Army Corps of Engineers permits, I did not hear back. I know there were some issues. The Army Corps wanted more elevations up and downstream. The engineers working on that petitioned the DEP to see if they could put it out to bid without that being finalized. I haven't gotten an answer back, so that's hopefully I'll have. At this point, it's getting pretty late in the year. It's likely it's going to be a next year project. I mean, we could put it out to bid still. If they come in, you know, if people are booked and the prices come in high, we can just elect to do it next and reject all the bids, do it next year, or we can wait and put it out to bid next year. So we'll just see when we are ready for bid, and I'll see what you guys want to do. The weight ordinance, we've just gone through that. I've been in discussion with DOT regarding the Meadow Road 125 intersection. They wanted to back when we were working together and they were going to join our Crooker contract. We had agreed on a point that we were going to stop, and they were going to come up and marry into that. And then that person retired, someone else is in charge, and so now they only wanted to go to their point on their plans, which would have left a gap between where we left off and where they're going to leave off with just a shim and overlay. And you know, my argument to them was, well, it's just not going to work. That's going to fall apart. So then they came back with, well, we'll add 3 inches of pavement, and I said, it's still not going to work. I got the engineer involved, and he said, no, it's not going to work. So we finally agreed that they're going to box cut the pavement, come back to our point, and they're going to put an average of 12 inches of new gravel. By cutting 3 inches of gravel off, they were able to make it fit in the budget, and it's still going to work just fine. So an average, many places there'll be more than that. Right at the transition, there'll be 12 inches. So that's on top of what we already have. So Public Works crew, we've been busy working on the gravel roads, adding gravel, and we do every spring, repairing the potholes, shaping them up, and so we've been working on that, pretty much wrapping that up, and we started working on the town office today because we want to get that ready for cleaned up and ready for the town meeting. So we made some improvements over there. We'll probably work over there again tomorrow. And then next week, we're planning to do crack sealing, sealing up the cracks in the roads. And that's another reason why I want to get to the town office today, because I don't know if we would get to it. We wouldn't get to it otherwise for town meeting, in time for town meetings. So, and that's all I've got.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Calvin?
Yeah, so you're doing the crack sealing yourself, Calvin?
Yeah.
Public Works is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You get a new crack sealer, or?
Oh, no, we rent it. Well, if we buy the blocks, is what we do every year. We get the machine given to us for 2 weeks if we buy a certain amount of blocks. So we'll do some now and some a little bit later on.
Calvin, are you hitting all town properties with that? For
Oh, we're gonna do
example,
the
fire station?
We're gonna do the fire station, town office. We'll start with those, and then we'll start working on the roads.
Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you.
Anything else for Calvin? All right, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Calvin.
Chief Moore, you are up next.
Good evening. I don't have much tonight. We're just continuing to work. People will see trucks around town on the side of the road for a little while. We're doing our annual hydrant testing, so just be mindful of that. There may be crews out there directing traffic for safety reasons. Our annual hose testing is coming up this week. We have a contract with an outside company that comes in and does that more safely and efficiently than we could get it done in a reasonable time frame. That's been done the last several years. Still waiting on news of when the air packs will arrive, and we're working on the transition for the new EMS billing system. That's all I have.
Okay, great. Anybody have questions for the chief? Okay, thank you. I think, Chief, we want you to join us for the first part of the executive session at the end of the meeting, if that works for you, because
Oh, okay,
talk about a little bit about the transition plan. So,
okay.
all right, town manager report.
Well, I'm on day 2 here, so I don't have a lot to report other than I did have an opportunity to go through all of the town properties. Ruth graciously took me through and gave me the grand tour. I also did get a chance to meet with Calvin and discuss some issues and maybe some opportunities to streamline some processes, particularly as related to subdivisions and roads, and coming up with some better ways to maybe track and communicate between departments. I plan on meeting with the town planner, George Labarge, next week. I believe he is out this week. So I'll catch up with him and try to get up to speed what's going on in land use in the planning department. And I would also like to meet with others as well, just so that I can, including the select board members, just so I can kind of catch up with everybody and see where everybody's at, and start to look at priorities and what I should be looking at. We worked a lot today on the financial aspects and transitioning over technology, emails, bank, all of that good stuff. So we'll be working with a lot of that this week. And I look forward to serving you guys, and I look forward to being here. I'm glad to get started, and I'm in deep already. So
Great. Well, we're glad to have you here. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for Kathy? We try not to challenge her too bad on her first night here.
No, other than welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Yes, welcome, Kathy.
All right. Well, thank you. We'll keep moving. Consent agenda. Is there anything on the consent agenda that a board member wants to pull out for discussion? Hearing none, I'm going to move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Rich seconds. Actually no discussion. Call for the vote. Todd Boyer,
Yes.
Rich George,
Yes.
Rob Ponto,
Yes.
Mark Farren,
Yes.
and I am a yes. Okay, upcoming meetings. The biggest one is Saturday, 9 a.m., town office parking lot, special town meeting to vote on that one budget article to reconcile what we can raise versus what people wanted to spend for the year. And then our next regular board meeting will be Tuesday, May 25th, and the one after that, Tuesday, June 8th. So with that, I'm going to move us into executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA section 405(6)A for a discussion of personnel matters. Need a second on that?
Second.
Rich seconds. All right. Call for the vote. Todd Boyer,
Yes.
Rich George,
Yes.
Rob Ponto,
Yes.
Mark Farren,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay, so Kathy, Chief Moore, and the board members,